slime bag! What's your problem, bro? We're trying to have a good time. Nope. Who the hell are you? What the hell?
Come on! We got to go to the circus!
What's going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Good Real Hunting. We have for the good reels, so you don't have to. It's your boy Brad. The Brett Man's right over there. 2022 is coming to an end, so we are recapping the year once again with some of our favorite stuff from 2022. Right now, we're going to be doing our top 10 favorite horror movies from the year. If you guys didn't see last week or whenever this comes out, sometime recently, we did our top 10 horror characters from 2022, so check that video out. And if you want to see 5 more of our top horror movies from 2022, check out our Patreon, as we did a Patreon exclusive video giving you 5 more of our favorite horror flicks. Birdie, this is going to be a fun list, man. This is what it all comes down to when the year starts.
Oh, dude, man, this is possibly one of our most anticipated videos we always look forward to every year, our top 10 horror movies of 2022. We had a lot of damn good ones, so this was not the easiest list to kind of like conjure up. So before we continue on, Brad already mentioned, if you want to watch our additional top 5, you got to go to our Patreon page, which let's freaking just show the Patreon card right now. So these are our lovely Patreons. These are our real hunters. They are the backbone of this channel. So if you want to be a real hunter and provide to the channel, be sure to, in the description down below, there is a link where you can sign up and see those additional top 5 along with other Patreon exclusive content, and you could be a good real hunter today.
Yes, and of course, as always, we also appreciate you just liking this video, sharing it, hitting the comments, all that stuff. That really helps us grow and helps us reach that quest, that goal of ours, which is to hit 1,000 subscribers right around the corner. So we appreciate all avenues of support all the time.
Absolutely, and be sure to let us know, what do you think about our top 10 horror movies of 2022? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you like apples? Do you like oranges? Don't answer that last question. Answer the previous one. Just let us know in that comment section down below. Let's get that discussion rolling, because we will love to see your top 10 horror movies of 2022.
Oh yeah, let's get this train rolling, man. I'm going to start off with my honorable mentions, which I'll just throw them both out there. And the first one is Smile. That was a big surprise when I saw the trailer. I didn't think it was going to be very good. It looked like Truth or Dare, that one from a few years ago. Just like your face right there, dude. It makes me want to burp some. I don't know, but I'm just kidding. But it was good. It ended up giving us a pretty good character in the movie, and the concept was much better done this time. It wasn't really the same concept anyway. This was actually making that, turning that into a concept, and it was creepy, man. It had some genuinely good scares throughout, some good jump scares, some good creepy moments. The main character was great, I thought, and yeah, it was nice. It was definitely a good surprise this year. It came out, and then it's on. I think it's on Paramount now is where you can find it.
Yes.
So check it out if you haven't seen it, man. It's definitely a good one. Probably one of the scarier movies of the year for sure. My other honorable mention here is going to be Deadstream. This one came out to Shudder, and man, I watched this thing on a whim, and I absolutely loved it, man. I thought it was a lot of fun. The main character, I guess Birdie, he said, was the director of the movie, which was cool. Mm-hmm. Although he was a little annoying throughout the movie, I thought overall it had a good balance of comedy and some good scares in it as well. It's a found footage flick where this dude goes, he's like a YouTuber or whatever, just like Birdie and I, and he goes to this haunted house for the night on Halloween. All kinds of crazy shit happens. It really brings in Evil Dead 2 vibes with the mm-hmm. sense of comedy and horror, those two things mixed. And yeah, it was a fun watch. Check it out.
Oh, dude, absolutely agree with you. That almost made my additional top 5. I just didn't enjoy it quite as much as Brad, but you know what? I'm still glad you mentioned it, because I definitely do believe that it's one of the best Shudder exclusive movies of 2022. So my honorable mentions, for me, when it comes to terms of Shudder exclusives, I'm going to go with The Sadness. This is a batshit crazy zombie movie right here. If you are a little bit of the weak stomach and you can't handle a lot of gore, go into this movie very cautiously, because you thought Saw was bad. This one is worse with all the terms of gore and everything. But if you can look past that, there is a story with a couple, and you are emotionally invested in both of them. So it's a damn good thrill ride and violent night. Not the one with Saint Nick. So that's my first honorable mention. And my next honorable mention, or the other one I should say, dude, this was so close. So it breaks my heart not to mention this one in my top 10. And that's The Watcher, the other Shudder exclusive as well, but it did get its way into the theater with Maika Monroe. So absolutely stunning. First, she just has this like presence to her where you just really want to watch her to see what she does. And this movie is no different. I love the tone and atmosphere of this movie. It really does tackle an issue where like just stalking in general is a really scary thing. And this movie really does it. I'm not as big on the third act on this movie. So that's why it's just at the honorable mention.
Ooh, yeah, man. Great flick, man. Great flick. All right, I'll start off with number 10 here. Some people may not consider this a horror movie, but I do. It's Fall. This was one that was a huge surprise for me, man. Again, I saw the trailer in theaters, didn't think it was going to be good at all. I was like, oh, this generic 2 hours of people climbing around on a fucking tower. It's going to be terrible. And for those who say it's not a horror film, then fuck you, because it's this movie. If you're afraid of heights like your boy Brad is, man, this gave me the most physical reaction in the movie I've seen, and I can't tell you how long. This actually made me perspire. The way that they were able to direct, this movie to make you actually feel like you're up on this freaking tower with these two ladies is pretty impressive, man. Because I actually did feel like I was there, and I was freaking the fuck out. For me, I would have never climbed the tower to begin with, but the fact that we did make our way up there in the film and everything that happened throughout, it was just so well done. It really felt like 47 meters down, but I thought it was actually more effective than that. It had a lot of the same kind of story beats, as that, but I thought this was much more effective, much more scary, and I'm not going around any towers ever.
Oh, dude, and why freaking would you, man? Especially with your new kick-ass drone and all that. Even though I will tell you this, if you get that high up, you don't have to worry about dogs destroying it.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're safe from dogs up there.
Absolutely. But real quickly, just in our terms of horror, really, it's just anything that just makes you afraid of something. So yes, Fall's not your typical like, oh my god, horror movie genre film. But dadgummit, I'm with Brad. I consider it a horror movie as well. So I'm with Brad. Fuck you if you don't think it does.
That son of a bitch scared me more than any other thing on this list this year. That's a damn promise.
Yeah, the fear of heights, man, and everybody has a fear of heights. Exactly. So just want to give my 2 cents on that. But you know what? With number 10, let's go a little bit of a fresh perspective, with Fresh. Number 10, Hulu exclusive, my friend. I know, Brad loves my puns. But man, Daisy Edgar Jones and Sebastian Stan really just their chemistry is undeniable in this movie. They worked so well together. They made their characters work. And I'm not going to tell you like the big thing that happens in this movie. I'm telling you, I want you all to go into this movie as blind. So the main thing I'm just going to tell you with this top 10 and it being at number 10, Daisy Edgar Jones and Sebastian Stan, or who you want to call the Winter Soldier, that's fine too. They are the ones that pushes this movie. They are the ones that make this movie work. So number 10 is Fresh.
Yeah, man. Great flick, man. Number 9 for me is going to be Scream. Scream 5, whatever you want to call it. This is one came out in January. And honestly, it's to its disservice. It came out so long ago. Had I watched it more recently, maybe it would go up a little bit higher. I don't know. I do remember really enjoying it in theaters. It's just kind of trickled down for me throughout the year because it's just, I've tried watching it a couple more times and I just don't get as into it as I did the first time in theaters. But still very well-made movie. I think it's still one of the better Scream movies in the franchise. I think it's probably my top 3 for sure, is where I initially ranked it and where it probably still lies. But we'll find out soon enough on that when we start our Scream series. But yeah, really effective for the most part. I thought the director's Radio Silence did a really good job bringing Ghostface back and giving us some new characters to follow, over the next course of the Scream movies, the next era, if you will. I think they did a good job of setting things up and rolling with it. So yeah, it's in number 9 for me.
I'm going to bring Randy back from the dead real quick. Fuck you. No, I'm messing, man. I don't. Hey, as long as it's in the top 10, I'm a happy camper, man.
There's a lot of good competition this year.
No, I'm telling you, that's why I said this is a difficult top 10 list to make because 2022 possibly brought one of us our better years of horror to date. So let's freaking
Yeah.
continue on here, Fo. With my number 9, Brad, you kind of related to this already. I'm going to just put a good old smile on my face. So my number 9 is Smile. I would possibly say, honestly, for me, the most surprising horror movie of 2022. I did not expect this movie to really succeed at all. Great marketing campaign. I will say it was one of the more fun marketing campaigns for a horror movie in a long, long time. But you know what? What helps marketing? Actually delivering on a good movie. This is a good movie. It has great tone and atmosphere to it. To me, it has one of the most epic jump scares that yours truly, Bert, has ever experienced. I had to pause the movie. Or actually, no, I couldn't pause the movie because I was at the theater. But it felt like I wanted to pause the movie the entire time. But Sophie Bacon's in this movie, and I learned to my recollection that is Kevin Bacon's daughter. First off, good name because bacon is good with everything. But yeah, she is absolutely very good in this movie. I do like the concept of it where we actually make for Truth or Dare 20, the Blumhouse version of it, but we take that whole goofy ass smile, but we make it look better, we make it more scarier. It's a good time for you. So number 9 for me is Smile.
Yes. Good pick for me. Number 8 is going to be, or for me, I'm sorry, my number 8 is Fresh. You just talked about it. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. Really, all the points you said earlier are valid, so I won't take up too much time for this slide. I just like the way that Sebastian Stan's character has a few twists and turns throughout, and the way he has to put on as an actor a lot of different hats in that character. He does a really good, effective job. Ted Bundy style, really, man, making you kind of, feel multiple different ways about him. I thought it was really good, but the chemistry the two actors had was fantastic. And it was just a fun time, a movie that came out of nowhere, but one of the most enjoyable of the year. So that's all. I mean, you said everything perfectly, so I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, hell yeah, man. You know what? That's a fresh perspective from you. Okay, I promise I'm done. But my number 8 here is going to be Orphan First Kill. Esther's back, ladies and gentlemen. And man, she is back with a freaking bloody vengeance, man. Saying kind of like where it all began for the Orphan. This is the prequel to Orphan. Unfortunately, Watch Mojo freaking spoiled the hell out of it for me with the Orphan. So if you know, you know. But just to see, as for just how everything began was very interesting. I thought it was handled really nicely. We get some cool cinematography moments. We get some pretty cool kills. And we also get one pretty good, like, OMG, what the hell did she just do moment. But the only reason this really holds back for me is that me and Brad can do a way better CGI fire effect on Filmora than this freaking movie did. And again, you'll see it when you see it, man. But other than that, it's great seeing Esper back on the big screen, or as this case on Paramount Plus. So my number 8 is Orphan First Kill.
Hell to the yeah, man. Okay, the rest of these movies for me are 4 stars and above. Actually, I think Fresh might have been 4-star too. So I should have said that on the last pick. But we're in the top 7 now. All these movies are really strong. I may surprise Birdie here with this next pick. I may not. I don't know. But number 7's one I was super high on when I first saw it, and it's kind of trickled down a little bit over the course of the year. That's going to be X from Ty West. It's one that I love it. I still love the movie. I love the characters. They gave us a slasher with some really good characters to get behind and to follow throughout. And I really loved that. And I loved the first half of the movie. But then the third act, I just feel like just drags on forever. Every time I watch it, it's hard for me to get through it. I like the idea of having Pearl as the killer, but it's just once you've seen it the first time and you take away that shock value on rewatch, it's just like, all right, come on, man. This doesn't feel realistic at this point. It's a little bit, this 90-year-old woman's out here slaying everybody. Of course, she had the help of a crocodile and a couple other things, but at the end of the day, I just think they could have trimmed some things up to go a little bit faster in that third act, and probably could have flowed better. But I love the first, half of it with the characters, getting to know everybody. Martin Henderson, I think, is great. As what's his name? I can't remember, but he's Wayne. Yeah, Wayne was fantastic. As was everybody else, man. It's a really good core cast, and yeah, it's still a lot of fun to watch. But every time I've watched it since the theater, I've kind of lost interest about halfway through.
All right, man. You know what? And again, I respect that because again, this is a tough top 10. Like it could really go all over the place, and we wouldn't blame you for that. This is how difficult, actually great 2022 has been for the horror
Yeah.
genre. So do not blame you for that at all.
Yeah, a
I'm
lot
gonna
of years
take
it could have been
page.
number one.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Especially like in like 2020, it could easily be a number one.
Definitely.
But here we are, 2022. But my number seven, Brad, I'm going to take your little bit of your playbook. This is the point now at number seven and above for the rest of the movies I mentioned. These are I gave a 4.5 to a golden reel. I'll let you know at the point where I start giving out golden reels. So my number seven to kick off my 4.5s is Hulu's Prey. Welcome back, Predator franchise. Then, where the hell have you been? Where has this type of movie been? Why do we have to get the Predator or Predators? Like, what the hell? How hard is it to make a damn good Predator movie? Prey freaking proved it, and I pisses me off every time why this movie was not getting a theater release because it really could have made stacks of cash. So damn you. So thank you, Hulu, for giving this movie an opportunity. I love the character Naru at the Takidaki Dojo. Now I'm just kidding. That's Haru. We're talking about Naru with my girl, Amber Thunder.
Don't say
Damn it, I
Thunderbird.
want to say
Don't say Thunderbird.
Thunderbird. I almost did. Mid Thunder is Amber Mid Thunder. I thought she is absolutely great in this, and the Predator looks badass, and their whole showdown in the third act is absolutely amazing to watch. So my number seven is Prey.
Dude, good pick, Birdie. I like that, man. I like that. Number 6 for me is a movie. Again, I did not expect this to be this high up this year, man. And honestly, it could move even higher the more I think about these a little bit more. But it's Terrifier 2, man. I thought this movie was so much fun. You know, it came in 2 hours, 18 minutes, whatever. I delayed myself from watching it because of the length so many times. The runtime kind of was like scared me away. But it finally came out to streaming. I checked it out on Screenbox, and it was such a fun time. Like it went by fast. The main character was great. Art the Clown was better than ever. He was somebody I was lukewarm on in the first movie. You know, he's like, yeah, he's okay, he's cool. I wouldn't consider him an icon or a staple of the industry or anything like that. But he comes over in Terrifier 2 and pushes all those other guys out of the way. He's like, man, I'm here to stay. I'm here having a good time. I'm gonna freaking get your attention and make you watch me do all kinds of crazy shit, and you're gonna have a good time doing it. It's a perfect blend of actually giving you some crazy ass kills, some nasty ass kills with really good practical effects, by the way, for a $275,000 movie, 265, whatever it is. But it also just making you entertained whilst these kills are going on, making you chuckle from time to time, throwing some jokes in there, doing some really fun things with it, and just making you it just has that charm about it. There's a lot of heart and effort that went into this movie, which is a lot more than I can say about a lot of movies with much, much higher budget. So I really appreciate it for that. And yeah, man, absolutely loved it.
Dude, apps are freaking balling, man. Because like when you told me, guys, I love Terrifier 2, I was like, what? Of all people, I thought Brad would hate Terrifier 2. But you know what, dude? That's freaking awesome. And promise me, I'll promise you guys, I am going to mention it here soon. But my number 6, this is the one actually that kind of like how X dropped for you. This movie surprisingly dropped for me. At one point, it was my number 1 until X-Ray took it over, but it's dropped down a couple of spaces. So my number 6 is going to be The Black Phone. Scott Derrickson coming back with a vengeance, man, and fixing up all his lighting issues he had from Sinister. We could actually see stuff in this movie. But you know what? He still brings that damn good dark tone and atmosphere. He brings us another iconic horror. I wouldn't call him an icon just yet, but a really damn good horror character in The Grabber. Ethan Hawke, amazing actor, but I want to see him play a bad guy. He not only plays the bad guy, he freaking knocks it out of the park. But the freaking big standaway, though, is the character of Gwen in this movie, played by Madeline McGraw. And she was freaking amazing in this movie. I think she has an absolutely bright future ahead of her. So this movie definitely is great. So I would put it at my number 6, The Black Phone.
I'll second that, man. Number 5 for me is actually The Black Phone for all the reasons you just said. So again, I'll save some time. I'll throw out a little credit to that opening freaking credit sequence that it has with that epic ass score and like the creepy ass like credits that pops up. Pretty badass. And I just love how eerie this movie is from the beginning, from the opening. It takes a while for the grabber to grab anything on screen, but it sets this stage up, it sets this anticipation up, it sets this sense of dread up from the opening act, with, you know, all this other stuff going on, you know, the opening credits, the music, the tension, all this stuff, the town on the edge, all that fun stuff, all that fun flavors about it, man. So that's what I really like about it. And once the grabber grabs, it's still, you know, I mean, it's still running, man. It's a pretty quick movie to get through, and it's got some really tense moments throughout, and it's actually more rewatchable than I thought it would be upon first watch. So yeah, really love it, man. Creepy and eerie and weird. I like it.
Hell yeah, man. And I do agree that this movie is easily rewatchable. So definitely agree with that. And that is the Black Phone. So my top five. Actually, you saw me kind of finagle with my phone. I had to make a couple of changes as we're freaking recording this. So there you go, guys. You never know where you're going to get a pre-recorded video. So my number five, and this might be a shocker for Brad. It's Five Cream. Have you ever heard of Five Cream before? No, I'm just kidding. It's Scream 5. Just because everybody thinks the S should have been a 5. But anyways, regardless of that, it is Scream 5. I love this movie. This is a great, like, you could call it requel, because I feel like that's what it really is at the end of the day. It does a really good job. Not only doing that, if you're just a fan of the original Scream, this is a love letter to the original Scream. Doing it for Wes and all of that. So it's just great. How they handle legacy characters in Scream 5 is 100 miles better than anybody has done so far, in my opinion. Especially, God, with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 2022 with Sally. Holy hell. But anyways, so Sidney Prescott, freaking Gail Weathers, and Dewey were all very great at their job of being legacy characters, carrying these newer characters along. And of course, the newer characters are fun and entertaining. Ghostface is back with a freaking vengeance, being more brutal than ever. I freaking love this movie with every freaking rewatch. So my number 5 is Scream 5.
Oh, listen, yeah, dude, I like that, man. I'm glad you took a minute to talk, because I just made like 18 changes, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. I'm doing this spur of the moment.
I owe you
I'm
one.
doing it. I'm doing it fly, man. I'm making some changes, and our live ranking may be different than this, that if you've already seen it, but that's okay. This is how I feel at this moment. So, you know, you never know what's going to happen on Good Will Hunting. Number 4 for me is going to be Barbarian. I thought this movie was pretty outstanding. I actually had a really good time with this. I really enjoyed it. I thought the 180 that it takes in the movie, I'm not going to spoil it. You guys need to go in blind as a motherfucker if you haven't seen it. But the 180 is not, it's fresh, because the first half of this movie is I think by most people's standards, the first half of this movie is outstanding, with everything that they set up and everything that they were doing. They're really moving something, you know, in a very traditional kind of spooky ass story, but they were doing it really well. And then the movie takes a 180 and new characters get introduced and all kinds of fun stuff happens at that point, which I really actually found pretty fresh. Now, the only reason I just moved this down actually 2 spots, and it's because I haven't rewatched it yet. And I think that the other 2 that I'm about to talk to, the other 3, I'm going to watch more often. Now, again, these could all change. I could watch this again. It could go up to 1. I don't know, but it's a really hell of a good movie. It's one that, again, go in blind as you can and just enjoy the ride. That's all I got to say. I haven't recommended more a movie to people more than I've done this movie this year, just because I want to get their reaction from it, because it's bonkers.
Man, you and everybody else, and shame on me. I totally forgot to put Barbarian on my actual letterbox list for horror movies of 2022. So shame on me for that. So, quick additional honorable mention is Barbarian. I'll go ahead and throw that in there real quick. So let's see here. We're at number 4. So my number 4 is going to be Pearl. This is the prequel to X that Brad mentioned earlier. This is how freaking Pearl just goes from this girl with big aspirations, just wants to be a star, to being one psychotic bitch. And man, just to see that journey from beginning to end is absolutely stunning to watch. And just the other thing I could say about this movie is that's just absolutely astounding. I still wonder how it freaking happened. It's just that 9-minute monologue at the end of the movie, in that third act. That's all I'll say about that. You'll thank me once you watch it, if you have not seen it already. Mia Goth, absolutely phenomenal in this movie as Pearl. I think, again, she has a bright future ahead of her in the horror genre, or just in Hollywood in general. So my number 4 is Pearl.
Dude, great pick, man. Great freaking pick, man. Okay, number 3 for me. This might shock a lot of people, maybe even Brett, man. I don't know. It's Halloween Ends. It's a flick that I haven't seen a movie as many times this year as I've seen Halloween Ends. And that's because it's so weird and bonkers and everything that I wanted. I wanted them to do something different and bold and fresh. And this one did just that. And again, I think I saw this movie 4 times this year. I know it's because we did a watch party for one, but I watched it twice the day it came out, which is something I haven't done in a long time. And yeah, and then I watched it again after that. So yeah, say what you want about it, but I'm watching the shit out of it, and I'm just as entertained every time I watch it. Is it the best Halloween movie in the bunch? Probably not. But is it a good horror movie that's actually surprisingly pretty character driven? Yeah, it is. It's in my opinion, probably the most character driven Halloween movie out in the franchise, aside from maybe Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And I don't think that's a stretch. I think that's very true. And I like characters. And this gives us a great character of Corey Cunningham, a fresh character, a new character, adding a new character to this mythology that we haven't seen before at all at any point in the franchise. It felt really fresh at this point in the franchise. It felt like something new and different. And I thought it was a really well-made movie. So yeah, give it to me. Number 3.
All right, I'll go ahead and let you know that is a dishonorable mention for me. Is freaking Halloween Ends. It is I'll give you this, Brett. It is a good horror movie, but it is not a good Halloween movie. That's just again my opinion. I know we've gone back and forth on it. If you want to see the videos, they're in our Halloween playlist.
We are doing our top 10 horror movies, not our top 10 Halloween movies. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
All right, I don't have a pipe. I'll sure indeed smoke it. So we're moving on here, my friend. My number 3, you already mentioned it, so I'm just going to keep it short and sweet, and that's going to be freaking Terrifier 2. I was so worried about the 2.5-hour time length for a slasher movie. It's never been done before. This is a crazy idea. It'll never work. Art the Clown and our final girl Sienna made it freaking work with storytelling, and that is what the first Terrifier movie missed, was the storytelling, and it really makes this movie go at a very good fast pace. The kills, I'm just gonna say watch it and you'll thank me later for that. If you got weak stomach, go in with caution because it does get very gory, but it's so damn fun. And this movie made Art the Clown a horror icon. So my number 3 is Terrifier 2.
Great pick, dude. Number 2, you just talked about it, man. It's Pearl, for 2 words. Mia Goth. Again, like I just said with Halloween Ends, this movie is very, very character driven, very story driven. So I was into it from the beginning. I love a good story, and this is one epic one. And it's actually, I would put this on the list of one of the best prequels ever made. Of course, it has the benefit of being made alongside the movie that it prequels for.
Yeah, legit, so back to back.
Yeah, so that gives it a lot of, that it was pre-planned and everything, so that helps out a lot. But I think it actually makes X a lot better. Just understanding the reasonings behind Pearl's madness and X in this movie is, it really helps. And I think it adds just a lot of depth to her character, and her performance was one of the better performances I've seen in a horror movie in a long time. So I honestly, I think it's Oscar worthy. You talk about the monologue at the end and how crazy she gets throughout and all this other crazy stuff. She makes you care for her at the same time. So it's really impressive with everything that she did. So I thought she was outstanding, and the story itself was great. And again, just the cinematography, the way that it was directed, everything about it to make it feels like it was made in the 20s almost, like Wizard of Oz. So yeah, it was really cool. If you haven't seen it, check it out, man. It's one of those that'll be talked about for a long time, I believe.
Hell yeah, dude. And I think Pearl will definitely be around for a long time. And I think Maxine, MAXXXINE, is going to definitely be a very anticipated movie for next year that everybody's going to want to see if it delivers that rarity in the horror genre, a successful trilogy. So I'm looking forward to next year to see if that will become that. My number 2, Brad has not seen this, and I'm just am waiting on the day for he freaking sees this movie, and that we have to do this top 10 all over again of how much he's going to love this movie. My number 2 is The Menu. Based off the trailer and the cast of this movie, I was like, sold. I'm in. I have no idea about anything fancy foods and all that, but you just got me in with just a trailer and all that. This is black comedy at its finest. If you want like a true definition, the horror genre of a black comedy movie, just what I mean by that is dark humor, just in case, is this movie freaking delivers on that. It is so eerie, but it easily breaks the tension a lot with it, with some awesome, cool humor. Anya Taylor-Joy and Ralph Fiennes, all just, and Nicholas, even Nicholas Hoult in this movie, they were all fantastic in this. This has really good cinematography because, again, you're looking at food, so of course they're gonna make the food look amazing. So I think you're all going to really have a good time with this. It almost came this close to being my number one movie of the year, but my number one is still the top.
Yeah, dude, that's it. I can't wait to see it, man. Really looking forward to that. So
You're
as soon
gonna
as it
love
comes
it.
out on streaming, we'll hit these years again at some point, man. A re-review, a re-ranking. Anyway, number one for me, man. You talked about it was a while ago. It's Prey from Hulu. So yeah, my top movie this year, horror wise, is one that didn't even go to the theaters, and it's really unfortunate. But it's also kind of cool to see that streaming is providing such great quality products these days. And I just really love this. I'm surprised. Like you said, Birdie, it's a very simple formula to make a good Predator movie. And they haven't done it since the first one. And I would argue that this could actually be better than the first Predator movie because it's way more character driven. Again, there's a theme here. It's more story driven. So I don't know which one I would put ahead of each other, but it's definitely right up there with the first one, in my opinion, at this point. And I think it's some of the best cinematography from any horror movie this year is in this flick, as well as one of the better original scores was in this flick. And one of the best characters of the year of Naru from Miss Thunderbird herself.
Oh my gosh.
Amber Mid-Thunder, though, with outstanding job. Really cool. The setting was really neat. I really like the simplistic formula of putting a futuristic predator against really antiquated weapons and just seeing what happens, man, duking it out. It's more about the driver, aka the user of the weapons, than it is about the weapons themselves. And I thought, those Duke sessions, a lot of good action sequences in this movie. There's some, a lot of cool moments, man. You look at one of the predators going up against the dog and they're battling out in the field. That got pretty tense. That got pretty wild, but it was badass at the end. There's a snake scene as well that's really cool and creepy. Of course, Naru battles the predator. That's really badass. And the cinematography through all that is really good. There's snow or ashes falling or whatever the fuck. I think it was ash, but that was really cool. There's some other bad guys in there that, they show up and they create some badass action sequences. It's really well done. I liked everything they did with the predator in this thing. And it was, it's great to see the predator back in action, baby.
Oh man, dude, you freaking shocked the world with me right there, man. But should have saw that coming with the text you sent me and Chris this morning. So very awesome number one pick. But my number one pick had the ultimate X factor into it, and I gave it a golden reel, of course, and that's going to be A24's X. No, not DX, Brad. Talking about X from Ty West. Man, I've heard rumblings about Ty West coming out with this very unique slasher movie, and the trailer would freaking sold me away too. And just when I got down to the theater and got to watch this, dude, I was so entertained, and I've never seen a slasher movie like this before. First off, you think the first half of this movie is freaking Boogie Nights. Let's go ahead and throw that out there. The first half of this movie is Boogie Nights, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. Because again, you're attached to every single character that you get to be put on display here. You actually care about the hell. You even care about old ass Pearl and want her to make sure she gets her freak on, man. That's how much you care about her at one point. But other than that, guys, Mia Goth, terrific. Jenna Ortega, she didn't have that much to do in it, but the parts that she's allowed to do it or like to be herself, or like to be the character, she nails it out of the park. Supporting actress of Brittany Snow for Bobby Land. She was freaking great. You could tell she was having a good time. That's the thing too. You could tell all the characters or all the actors and actresses were having a great time with this movie, and it always shows on the screen. So my number one of 2022 is X.
Hell to the yeah, man. What a great year, man. It's crazy that our lists were so different, and I think that's a good thing because there's so many different options this year, something that everybody can enjoy in different ways. I think everybody's list is going to be very different. And again, let us know, like Brett said, let us know in the comments because we want to see yours, man. These are going to go all over the place, man. And I'm really curious to see the vibes from different people this year's movies because there's a lot of good variety out there.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Actually, I don't know if we've done a top 10 horror movie before, but there were so many to pick from. We even had 5 extra this year. So it's cool.
Yeah, dude, it's freaking cool. And just remember, too, if you want to be curious about a tier ranking of this, we did do a tier ranking of the top horror movies of 2022, so you can check that out right over here as well. But we just want to make sure we deliver a top 10 for you all as well, just letting y'all know what we think individually is the best of the best. And we hope you enjoyed it. And we, of course, like Brad said, we want to know what your top 10 is. Let us know in that comment section down below, as we always keep that discussion rolling. And Brad, where can they find us?
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Twitter, TikTok, and of course Patreon. Those links are for you to find right down below.
Abso-freaking-lutely. And until then, we gotta get ready for 2023 horror season, man, because man, 2022 set a lot of expectations for 2023. So we're gonna see you next year.